Welcome to Creating Success in the Mess, where we talk about just that, creating success in the mess of this thing we call life.
We're your hosts, Corey and Whitney, a husband and wife team that does life and business together.
In this podcast, we share our struggles and funny moments as we have journeyed growing our family, our faith, and businesses.
We share inspiration, motivation, and practical tips and tricks to help you build yourself and a life you love.
We invite you to join us every week on the podcast, and we can't wait to create success in the mess together.
Hey, and welcome to this episode. We're so excited because today we're going to teach you how to build your team. So whether you're just living life, maybe you're a college student, you're a parent, you're trying to navigate this crazy world.
You own a business?
You want to start a business. Maybe you want to get out of a business. Who knows? It doesn't matter where you're at. Today we're going to teach you how to build the team.
But wait, a team as in employees?
No.
A team is what?
Your inner circle.
Your community. Your
community.
People you're vibing with.
Now here's the thing. We're going to take this, build your team, and we're going to go the way that you've never been told before, because this is just how I like to do it. If I see everybody doing something a certain way, I'm like, no, let me do it. If church is on Sunday morning and I start a church, I'm going to put it on Tuesday afternoon because I don't want to be like anyone else. All right.
Right.
We're going to talk about building your team by cutting the people and the things off that don't serve your mission and vision. Now, I got to be honest for a second. I taught high school for 13 years, over a dozen years, a lot of years.
A lot of years.
And I was that kind of teacher that was like, do we even have a textbook? I taught social studies, history, boring. Let's just be honest, it's boring. You don't even memorize the presents. If it's on Wikipedia and Google and you can find it within 30 seconds, we're not learning it in my classroom. That's how it was. And guess what? Today, what we're going to teach you, you can't find on Google. It ain't going to happen. You're in the right spot. Because this is what you need today. As you listen to this podcast, you're going to gain some of the most important things that you need to realize that the people you surround yourself with is going to be your progress. So we're going to figure out how can we cut. Now, here's the idea. All right?
Cutting makes me super nervous. Let me just say this. Yes.
Have you ever had a piece of cake?
Yeah.
You got to cut it to enjoy it.
You're right. But cutting makes it seem like people are leaving. You're going to be lonely. People don't like you. I'm not for everyone. It makes it seem like I am not being successful somewhere because of some disapproval of some sorts in some way.
Well, let me tell you what. They're not abandoning you, and you're not abandoning them when you make the cut. Actually, when you cut people on certain things, you're doing them and it a favor as much as you're doing yourself. Because the positive and negative voltage that's occurring isn't matching up. Right? And so it's all about trying to create this inner circle. Here's what I used to tell the teenagers that were in my classroom, because this is what I saw in a class in there. Popularity contest. Mm-hmm. When we were all teenagers, let's just be honest.
I mean, that's our whole life, regardless of what age we are.
It actually never went away, did it?
No.
It's like when we were in high school and college, it was like we're trying to be popular.
Mm-hmm. The influencer.
Right. At what point in time do we say, like, I am not for everyone?
Right.
And I'm going to tell you what. If you are running any kind of social media for your business, or if you have a social media personally, if people start unsubscribing, if people start unfollowing, guess what? For every unsubscribe, you get a better subscribe. Mm-hmm. When you can start cutting the people who don't align with how you feel, you will feel more comfortable about speaking out.
Yes.
Because when the naysayers and the critics unfollow and they leave and they don't want to hear what you have to say anymore, well, guess what? That means you now have permission to say whatever you want, and you probably won't get as much flack about it. And guess what? If you are getting flack about it, they actually want to follow you.
Right.
You're actually telling them what they want to hear. Mm-hmm.
Somewhere inside of them, you are bringing up something in them that is flustering them. And so they are stuck in between the spot of, oh, something in me kind of likes that, but then something in me kind of doesn't. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to argue with you about it rather than just going on about my way. Mm-hmm. If people are truly fully know themselves and who they are, and that is what you express, then they just go where it feels good to them. And if they're not just going where it feels good to them or getting out of what doesn't feel good with them, if they are sitting in your space and kind of like conversing with you about whatever it is that, traditionally looks like conflict, there is something about what you're saying that is bringing something up inside of them that they want to explore a little more, but for whatever reason they are combative against it.
Right.
And so you don't have to feel offended about that. You can let that be, you stand in your truth.
And the reason why you shouldn't take offense to this, look, every human being has a purpose on this earth. I'm getting ready to tell you, it's one word. It's one word. Every single person right now listening, there's one word. It's called serve. We all have a purpose to serve. Now, however you serve, you got to figure that out. You got to find your place in where you serve, but we're all here to serve. Well, guess what if I told you this? You cannot serve people by pleasing them.
No. And you can't serve everyone because you weren't made to serve everyone. You were made to be an individual with certain attributes, certain talents, certain beliefs, you are you. And you are here to help guide some. And you have to know you, and you have to know who you are and who you were made to be. And you have to stand in that truth. And you have to be okay with just being that. Just being that. Being that for the people that need you. Not being everything for everyone. Just who you are. Just what you were made. Just what you believe. For the people that need you. Yeah. Not everyone.
So if you were ever on like anything that's organized, like organized sports, maybe it was band, who knows what, art club, there was always a coach or someone that was a director, someone who was in charge of it. And if you can think back to your coaches, who were the types of coaches that were there to please the players and what types of coaches were there to serve the players? Because you can definitely find a distinction. The coaches that served did not do what all the players wanted. They did what was best for everyone, and everyone found their place somewhere on the team. But the coaches that did the pleasing, well, they had their favorites, and they did not have their favorites. And depending on where you're at, you could see those dynamics being established, and I can guarantee you the success of the overall team is going to occur depending on, are we here to serve or here to please? And even as a parent, when you're parenting your kids, like, you can't parent your kids by just pleasing them.
No.
Right?
I mean, in business, we all have had jobs. We all have, been in the job world, right? And there are two ways of operating business. You either have a leader at the top that is serving the people, working alongside the people, like putting, everybody in position to be and to give them what they need to succeed. And then you have the ones that are not serving, the ones that are, wanting to please or need to be pleased, that, aren't putting people in position of where they need to be so that there's a team, that there's a community, right. This happens in our corporate, in our job world. And it doesn't matter if it was, working at, Dollar General or working at like a Fortune 500 company. The top, the leadership part of it, they make this decision. Yeah. And it affects the entire community, the entire team.
Right. So I told you, everyone's purpose is to serve, but also leadership-wise, because you brought that up, everyone's also a leader.
Yes.
You're a leader of yourself.
Yes.
And when you go work for somebody, you have to ask yourself, am I doing what I do to please my boss, or am I doing what I'm doing to serve?
Right.
Because your emotional feeling after you do it is different when it's coming from a pleasing perspective or a serving perspective. So I really had to ask myself, like, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? Am I doing it because this is what I feel that I want? This is great. I got some enthusiasm in this, right? Or am I like, maybe if I do this, they'll appreciate me more.
Right.
And you have to ask yourself, what's your why?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Right. When you identify that you are operating more in a pleasing capacity or operating more in a capacity of not standing in your truth and in your leadership component and in who you are, you have to stop and ask yourself, is this serving me? Right?
Yeah, right.
And sometimes that's hard. And sometimes you lose followers on your social media. And sometimes you lose subscribers to your email list.
Well,
and
good.
sometimes your kids get mad at you. And sometimes you have to leave that job.
Yeah.
Like sometimes that is what happens. And that is absolutely necessary. The cut of whatever those things are is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
As long as you are truly aligned in who you are and speaking to who you are and showing up as who you are, it is okay to lose some people along the way.
And here's the thing. Some of us, we're discovering who we really are.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to be like, well, I don't feel aligned. I mean, I feel aligned here, but not there. Okay. Go with where you feel aligned. Work there. Like, there's your steps.
Right.
Work on gravitating an inner circle there.
Right.
And, I can think of, when I was a high school teacher, it was really interesting because I truly felt like I served my students. I was always there to serve my students and do what was best for all of them and what they needed to hear. But then on the flip side, I was a pleaser, man. I was always trying to please my coworkers, my principals, the administration. And it was real interesting when the kids were in the class, I was living. Like, it was the dream. Like, I was serving. I felt like I was taking a generation of students that were that could really go and live life truly for themselves, not just by what the textbook tells them to do. But I'm going to tell you what, at the same time, my principals would come and say, hey, we have a teacher that's going to be out for a long time, and we really would appreciate it if you would give up your planning period and take on one of their classes. It'd be very helpful. And you know what I would do? Oh, yes, please. Oh, I would love to do that. I'm a team player. No, I was trying to please. I would give up my planning period, the time that was most crucial for me to develop my next best lesson for the students that I was serving. And I would run myself so thin trying to please my bosses that I then could not show up to serve for my students.
Right.
Something had to be cut.
Right.
I needed some unfollowers so that I could have a better follower to focus on.
Right. And sometimes unfollowers feels a little Sometimes unfollowers feels like somebody might not like you. And that is okay. It's okay that they might feel a little frustrated. It's okay that they might not like what you say. It's okay that you guys just don't jive and you're not friends. Like, it's okay. We are not for everyone. We are for ourselves first. We have to be aligned in for ourselves before we can serve anyone else. And there is no way that we can be for ourselves if we are for everyone.
Right.
You can let them not like you. You can let them feel irritated that you say no. Mm-hmm. You can let them be mad that you left the job. You can let your kids get upset with you. Life goes on. And for everybody, when you say no to your boss, you are then available for your kids at home.
Right.
When you leave that job, you are now available to what? A different company. The possibilities are really endless. But you have to get to the point where you're okay to say, they don't have to like me. They don't have to like my decision. And they don't have to understand. They don't even have to understand. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with whatever they feel. They can keep that. They can keep that emotion with them. They can keep that frustration. I don't have to feel frustrated or mad or angry or upset or offended because they are.
Yeah. Sometimes you do have to sit with it a little bit because when you're kind of getting out of this routine of pleasing and you're like, okay, it's okay. They don't like me. I'm going to move on. But sometimes you don't necessarily get the fulfilling thing until later. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes there's a period of time where you kind of have to sit with I'm trying to remind myself.
I am not for everyone.
I'm not for everyone. I am not for everyone. And
everyone is not for you.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people and places and things that are not for you. And you can identify that and you're okay with that. So you give that out and you get that back. And that's just how the world works.
Yeah. I mean, man, if I'd have heard this at an early part of my life.
Right.
Like, it would have just so helped me not be so focused on getting everyone to like me.
Yeah, and I think it is so important for us to remember to not focus on the negative part of it, but to focus on the positive part. So choose not to focus on the loss or their frustration or whatever. Choose to focus on, now you have space on your team, right? You have space on your team for the people that are for you, for the people that are going to push you and help you and feel good talking to, and you feel good working with, and you jive and you get along with, and those are your people. And the only way that you can have your people on your team is letting the ones that are not on your team go. You have to create the space.
Because we all only have a certain amount of capacity to serve. And so you've got to be able to do that. You've got to be able to start dissecting and seeing, who do I want here? Where do I feel the alignment? Right. Where do I feel gravitation and energy that makes me feel good at the end?
Right. When something falls off, something better is coming. That is the mindset that you focus on. And not the fall off part, the better that's coming.
In order for a tree to produce new leaves that are bigger, it has to first drop.
Right.
The old leaves from
those
a previous
leaves are
season.
Not for that tree anymore.
Right. And it's all about a season. So in the fall, the leaves fall off because the branch is going to grow, but the growth happens in a time that looks dead. Winter.
Right.
Where you see, like, is this tree dead? Is it alive? Like, I don't even know. You can't tell because there's nothing green. But come spring season, come those moisture-filled storms that come in and just give it life, the tree grows bigger and bigger.
Right.
So sometimes we have to just be able to sit in a season that looks kind of dead, but know that, hey, spring's coming around.
Right.
And I'm going to put myself in the best place possible to show up for the best people possible, and I'm just going to serve.
Right. I have my table here, and people are going to choose to come and sit at it that want to align with it. And we're going to go, and we're going to grow, and we're going to be this big, awesome tree. And all the other leaves, they're going to find other trees.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Right. We are here for that. And if you are like, hey, I want Corey and Whitney on my team. I love this.
We want to be on your team.
We want to be on your team too. Reach out to us. We do consultations. We do mentor. We do coaching. Like, reach out to us. We'll connect with you. And let's find what will work best for you. And hey, guess what? If we're not a match, that's okay because we know people. We know people. You want to build an email list? I got somebody who can teach you how to do that. All right? So reach out to us. We would love to connect with you and help.
Thank you so much for listening. We know that we all get busy trying to do life, and our hope is that we can find ways to implement time and space to create a life we love living every day on our terms, right in the middle of all the messes of life.
We hope that you've been inspired and our conversation has helped you in some way, and it would be so amazing if you share this conversation with somebody that you think would really benefit from hearing it. You can text someone the link, or you can share it via email or on your social media pages. And please, we would love for you to leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening on because it helps us so much. The more reviews we have, the more people that will find our show, and our ultimate goal is for everyone to feel inspired, to find ways to create their own success right in the middle of all the mess. And no, they are not alone in doing so.
And finally, we'd love for you to join our weekly email list so that we can connect on a deeper level and you can always be in the know of our new release events and opportunities.